Hi there, I'm Zara Imtiaz. My colleague Rajesh Ramani interviewed Kim Hendrix from Hato Agricultural Lighting about why professional lighting is imperative for poultry welfare.
Hi, Kim. Welcome to another edition of Asian Agribiz podcast, where we will be discussing how professional lighting in poultry houses can be better for their welfare. Let's start with the first question. Why is it essential for poultry farmers in Asia to consider switching from conventional to professional lighting inside their poultry housing?
Well, there are actually multiple reasons why you should shift from conventional to professional poultry lighting. First of all, because of the birds. Of course, you want to improve their well-being and thus their performances. With specifically designed lighting for poultry, this also means that it will improve their welfare because it's designed for them. Because each species perceives light in a different way. And poultry is specifically very sensitive to lighting. So they perceive lighting, they are more sensitive to lighting than we are. And they will see also more. So what we see is not what they see because they perceive much more. And that's what we take into account when we design professional poultry lighting. For instance, you will need different lighting for different systems. So if you have a cage housing system, then you will need a lighting that is designed for that system because you want all the birds to have the same treatment. So the lighting distribution needs to be different than lighting for floor housing systems because then you need the lighting to go down and be uniform there. And for instance, the flickering of the lights is one big issue. Even we people are affected by it, even when we don't see it. And poultry perceives it more and faster than we do, and they are really affected by it. So it's also a very stress issue. So yeah, there are 8 or 9 aspects that we take into account when we make new lighting systems. So that's why for the birds' welfare, this is important to take into account. And besides the welfare, of course, the lifetime of professional lighting is way better. Our lighting systems, for instance, go over more than 10 years. So it's very cost effective and also very hassle-free for the farmer. And of course, you will save a lot of energy because the lighting is designed for that situation. If you have at-home bulbs in your farm, the replacement rate is extremely high. But our lighting is also protected for instance, energy shifts, so the power shifts. So when the power goes up or down, then it will protect the light as well. So the light will not go off. And yeah, we know that you can earn the investment back in less than 2 years already. So for that, I think it's good for the animal and good for the farmer to invest in this.
Okay, that's an excellent response. So next question is, what is conventional lighting? How does that affect birds? And what are the negative effects that could be costly for farmers?
Conventional lighting, I then think of regular bulbs that are mainly used here in Asia, as I see it. The regular bulbs don't have a good light distribution, so the light always stays around the bulb. The light doesn't go to the animals or go to where we want the light to be. So that's not good for performances and also not easy for us to work in. So if you have more uniform light distribution, then the birds will also perform better. So it will lead to higher bird uniformity. So you don't have any dark spots or shadows. So also in the floor housing system, you won't have any. You will have less floor eggs as well because the birds like to sit in the dark spots and like to lay in the dark spots. So we want to prevent that as well with the lighting. Another thing is with bulb lighting and non-LED lighting is that the spectrum is smaller. So the bird is very sensitive to light, so they can see very bright colors and they can even see UVA light. So if you improve the amount of light or make the spectrum bigger that is in the bulb, then the birds will also have a better color vision. They will be able to recognize each other better. So you are actually cutting them short by giving non-LED lighting. And with LED, the colors will be brighter, and we can even adjust the colors to the birds' need. So, for instance, especially the red part of the spectrum is important for egg-laying hens, so laying hens and breeders, because the red goes 8 to 10 times faster to the skull, and through the skull is where the birds perceive the light that is needed for stimulation of the birds and to get them into production. And with the LEDs if you have good LEDs, professional LEDs, then they also will have the proper red, and so the stimulation and going into production will be better. And of course, as mentioned before, we want to decrease the stress. So the flickering of the lamps is a really, really big thing. We see houses that the lights are flashing just all day. So like, imagine if you're like in a disco having the flashing light at you 24/7, because often farmers leave the lights on 24/7. We see that as well, also an issue. But you really need to prevent that. And for us humans, it's not that big issue, but for birds it really is, and it's a really big stress factor. And this also influences the performances for the birds. So it's an easy way to decrease one stress factor for the birds. And a way to look at in your farm at the lights is to put your phone on video, and then just point it at your lights, and then you can see the flashes going on and off, and then you know that there is flickering inside your house, and that's also how you then you know how you can improve that stress factor.
Right. So what will be the cost like to install professional lighting, and what are the immediate results one can see once the farmers actually like a switch?
Well, the costs are very dependent on the specific situations. Usually we need to assess the house, so we need to know the dimensions, the height, even the colors of the wall have a big influence, especially on lux levels. So we get all that information, and then we can put it in an app to make an automatic light plan, and then we can really give you faster cost estimate. And of course, every house is different in application wise, so also we need to take that into account. But the things we get back from our customers that give immediate result is that the birds are calmer when they go into the house. It feels like it's a feeling that I think farmers really know. It's like a calm feeling that everything's okay. And that's the first thing you will experience. And other immediate results are, of course, the energy savings, and you will need less replacement. So you don't have to look at your lights maybe for 8 to 10 years or to the whole system. So those are things you can immediately see. And to emphasize this, our main products, for instance, have an 8-year warranty. So we don't give that out for nothing. And we give it really because we know that the lights do it well for over 8 to 10 years.
Okay, so once the lights are installed, how do you check that they're working properly or they're working in the way they're supposed to be working? Do you have an app or something like that?
Well, we have a device where we can measure it with, and we stimulate our dealers and resellers also to use that device. So then you can measure indeed if the installation is good, because it's not just about one bulb. It's about the whole installation, because if you have a wrong power supply or a wrong dimmer, or the installation is wrong, then you will still have flickering, or the lights are not doing what you want it to do. So we give our resellers and dealers always good training, and so they know how to do it, because it's sometimes pretty complicated for the regular electrician to do it, but we can help everybody by training.
Okay, so what about for turnkey poultry housing suppliers? We're talking about big projects, people who supply big projects. Do they offer lighting solutions, professional lighting solutions, and why these may or may not be different in quality?
They frequently do. I think it's becoming more and more the turnkey projects, because farmers are just like, I want to buy at one point. Actually, many of our customers are turnkey project house suppliers. So then we work together with them, and they are also knowledgeable because they know what the influence is and they want to sell a whole project. So there are turnkey poultry house suppliers that do apply professional lighting, but I also know there are some of them who think, oh, I only have this budget, so I slide in the cheap lighting, and then that's gone. So I would really advise the farmers to check with their suppliers to see what are they really supplying, because lighting is often overlooked, and I think it's a very important part of your house. So I really would advise that.
Okay, so does Pro Lighting Solutions help with things like heat stress and disease management? And if they do, and how does that happen?
If we look at heat stress, it's a little bit difficult. We did have some feedback that the birds were feeling more comfortable. Of course, the heat stress is not totally gone, but usually they had a dip, like a deeper dip in feed intake and also the egg laying. And with proper lighting, you take a little bit of stress away, because if you see it like a bucket, it's all adding up and suddenly the bucket flows over. And if we can take a little bit of stress away, they will also perform better. So they also saw that the feed intake decreased, but not as much as usual. And also the production the same. So it still decreased, but not as much as it did before. So that's something, we believe that if the poultry feels better, they will also perform better. And that's our whole philosophy. And I will really like to mention that, especially for biosecurity reasons, if you have proper lighting, you can also clean them properly and no dust or dirt will get inside the fittings or the bulbs. That's also for biosecurity reason a very good thing to take into account, because if you have good lighting, you can just hose it off. It's easy to clean and they will not break down. So no bacteria will remain when you transition to the next flock.
That is really a good enlightening response for that. I'm glad I asked that question. Okay, Kim, thank you for enlightening us on what professional lighting for poultry houses mean in terms of production and for their welfare.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another Asian Agribiz podcast. Please share this podcast with your industry colleagues and visit our website at www.asian-agribiz.com for the latest trends in the animal proteins industry.